Perhaps the foremost artist in aggressive inline skating today is Arlo Einsenberg. Not just an athlete, but also a businessman. Yet what Einsenberg seeks from this sport is a feel, not a fortune.
This is the difference between a sport and a lifestyle. Because we don't get into this to compete. You don't get into it to be judged or to be measured against your friends, at least not in a competition format. Yeah, it is in our nature to be competitive. When you're in a jam session, you watch someone go, you get fired up on it, and you want to go and perform just as well, if not better. That's human nature. The only thing I question or that concerns me is on whose terms are we doing that?
Arlo is the editor of the inline magazine Daily Bread. Daily Bread's stated purpose is to stay true to the sport and keep it real.
Daily Bread, since we're doing it, I felt like it was the only place that really accurately represented rollerblading. We're covering a different sport, and so what's going to happen is we're going to basically have two different sports, or one sport with two different camps. You'll have the competitions, and maybe the rest of it will be pushed back underground, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I don't like it being reduced to a science, because what we do is very unscientific. It's artistic, it's expressionistic, it's about individuals. What can I say?
Oh, he's a clinical psychologist, dream boy, an X-Game competitor of the highest order.
I try not to think of myself in the third person. I try not to think of Arlo.
Mr. Arlo Einsenberg, a skater not known for his triple nuts, but for his soul grind.
I always have to keep shedding my image in lieu of a new one. I don't want to be boxed into any one thing. If I start to become my hair, then I have to get rid of it. We're challenging conventions right now. We're challenging this whole conventional authoritarian structure. And it starts with a bunch of kids just raising hell.
Look in my eyes, what do you see? The cost of personality.
We didn't learn from Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman learned from us. He's mimicking our generation. If you're a good rebounder, that's one thing. But if you're a good rebounder who cross-dresses and has tattoos and blonde hair, you're bigger than Michael Jordan. I'd like my legacy not to have been just rollerblading. I mean, I'm proud of this and I love it. But it's not all for me. I'm only 22 now. I got bigger plans. So watch out.
Arlo Einsenberg. Watch. Learn about his sport. You will see it.
And a nice 360 to get started. Most of the guys were just doing straight airs. Oh!
You know, it's funny, as great as Arlo is from the waist down in this sport, the way he uses his feet and his legs, I love watching his arms because he always looks so relaxed out there, no matter what contortion he's going through.
Amazing, amazing run so far. That was a 270 to soul grind on the rail box.
Setting up the sub here or the railing. How about both?
Nice
the railing lands on the wedge. Arlo is well known for his green painted fingernails, his different hair colors.
He is just on.
But what he does best is skate. Final 10 seconds. He's going back up the start box. One last shot. Does he go rail or jump box here?
He's going jump box. One big one. And a 540 to finish it off.
Arlo Einsenberg did the professional thing. Two good, consistent runs in the prelims. Now he goes for greatness in the final.
That was not your standard 540 over the spine. What he was doing was a nose pick and then a 360. And here the 270 rotates around 270 degrees. Very nice soul grind. And the transfer, the judges love those unpredictable lines.
He was 8 feet above the asphalt when he cleared that railing. That's a pretty big penalty if you biff. But Arlo Einsenberg didn't. He's your leader after the first round. Dion Anthony stands third, and clearly he can do better in his second run. Remember, only the better of the two scores count in the final standing, so everybody's got a shot to win this thing.
Now, you might notice that a lot of the guys do the same tricks. What separates them is style, linking one trick into the next one and the next one and the next one. The best at that is Matt Salerno, who you mentioned going in, isn't here because he was injured.
A lot of finesse involved, but these also become endurance contests. Last year, we saw a lot of the top qualifiers really run out of steam in the finals. Arlo, his legs maybe not the freshest. You may have heard him say that, trying to hold up. We'll show you more runs coming up later on.
Later tonight, 15-year-old Katie Brown has women's climbing in...
Welcome back to the final.
Water Place Park. Thousands of people have come out to watch us, or maybe it's the bungee practice. A lot more coming up.
How you doing?
Coming up, inline skaters at home on the street.
This is my house, yeah. You don't like it, just get out of, get out of, get out of. This is my house, yeah. You don't like it, just get out of, get out of, get out of.
If you think aggressive inline is simply a product of a rebellious generation, consider that its origin reaches back some 300 years. Today, it's constantly evolving. Chris Edwards, the ultimate pioneer of aggressive inline, who adopted moves from skateboarding and adapted them to inline, gave up his hold on the vert at last year's games. The changing of the guard continues, but no matter who rules, the lesson is clear. The progression of inline skating has been unparalleled.
Pontiac Sunfire presents Exposed, the history of inline skating.
It's definitely here, and it's here to stay now. You know, it's not going to go away.
Inline skates. The summer's most popular wheels. But as hot as inline skates are now, they owe their roots to the ice and snow. Desperate Dutchmen suffering from ice skating withdrawal first hammered a line of wheels to wooden shoes in the early 1700s. The skates developed throughout Europe, even making this 1849 French cartoon. But the idea didn't cross the seas, so roller skating to Americans meant boots with the quad wheel arrangement. That is until another winter sport athlete noticed the European import.
My name's Scott Olson. I'm the inventor of the rollerblade product. I developed it in 1980.
By 1981, Olson had quit playing hockey to produce inlines full-time for rollerblades, still the dominant manufacturer. With inline developments, it wasn't long before adventuresome skaters started emulating their buddies in other sports.
I was always riding with skateboarders and the guys on bikes and stuff, and so I was trying to get myself up to their level.
That is what Tom Fry is known for.
Matt Salerno charges up the crowd.
Viewers of the X Games are part of nearly 24 million Americans who soak up the warm climbs on inlines, one of the top 10 recreational sports in the country. They just don't normally do that. And of the 24 million inliners, 15 million of them are kids under the age of 18, and maybe the same kids who are playing Pee-wee football or Little League baseball.
And urban roller hockey leagues exploding in places where they never see ice, and in urban cities as well.
Straight ahead, we've got the inline street finals, and you'll see one of the guys most closely associated with inline skating, Arlo Einsenberg. We're coming right back.
Bub, need to make a collect call? Use 1-800-CALL-ATT. It's speedy, it's easy, and it always costs less than MCI's 1-800-COLLECT.
Brian, what'll it be today?
I did it again.
I'm not trying to be bossy, but if you use 1-800-CALL-ATT, you'll save some money.
Arlo Einsenberg owns the street in aggressive inline skating. He has won the championship. This is his final run, just for fun. In 3 runs, including his 2 prelims, he clearly has been the best. And now skating with no pressure, he really can let it all go. Arlo says it's a lifestyle. He's not in it to win trophies. He's not in it to get rich. It is that very attitude that makes him so loved by his fellow skaters and the skating community.
He lands it, and he pulls it. A nice Liu Kang Misty Flip, kicks his leg out like the Mortal Kombat character.
Before the X Games began in 1995, Arlo Einsenberg, far and away, was the most unusual and probably best known personality. And it is somehow fitting that he gets the last inline skating run of the 96 X Games, going in front of, behind, over and above the apparatus and most of the competition here. Arlo Einsenberg skating around his neighborhood. He owns it. The gold belongs to him too. Chris Edwards duplicates his result from the vert ramp, winning bronze on the street. 15-year-old Matt Mance wins the tiebreaker over Edwards and thus takes the silver. Arlo Einsenberg is the champion on the street.
I have to admit, you know, winning's kind of sweet. You know, it feels good. But I certainly love rollerblading, and I enjoy coming out to events like this with the exposure and hopefully spreading the word, you know, 90 countries, whatever. A lot of people are seeing what we do, and hopefully they'll get turned on to it, because it's really a lot of fun.
Einsenberg skates for a feeling more than to be a winner, but now he knows how it feels to be a winner.
Arlo, the Dalai Lama of inline skating. He can now reclaim the title of inline street king. He was unseated last year. He was really beat up. He had the bad back, the bad groin, but the Americans can also claim the Kings of Street title. They take 1, 2, 3 after the Aussie invasion of last year.
That's right. And you might have noticed that on street, just about every time somebody falls. So there are a lot more injuries in street than on vert. And think about it, on the vert ramp, you fall and you slide down the ramp. On the street, you're dealing with the asphalt and the rails. But since these guys like to skate, the badge of honor being an injury, a lot of them are using alternative medicine, alternative sports, alternative medicine. They'd rather use acupuncture and herbs than drugs to heal themselves.
Next up, we'll talk about why Mike Ditka, Bob Knight could never have coached inline skating. We'll take you to camp as we continue.